Hello everyone, Steve here. Okay, so for today's video, I'm gonna be talking about a manga that I've been reading, recently. Um, I've been reading recently, and I'm gonna be talking about it. And then also, this is gonna probably be like the second video, the second like video of of generally talking about it. The manga I'm referring to is one, it's named "With the Light Raising an Autistic Child." Um, yeah, I've been reading that manga so far pretty much. I just finished I think it was the first like four chapters. I'm currently first four chapters. Yeah, I already finished like the first volume yesterday, and I'm gonna be reading the second one next. I'm like halfway through, so I'm still have a lot more to do. In the form of reading, but I generally want to talk about the series because like there's not really much, because there's not really that many people really talking about it on like YouTube or like on like on like YouTube, TikTok, like Reddit, or like there's not really much information, or there's not really that many people um that talk about the series. Even though I do know the series does have a decent fan has like does have a pretty sized fan base. However, you don't really hear much about them. Yeah, this is generally, and I think there's only like one YouTube video of like someone talking about it, of course. But that was like a few, but that video was like kind of old. Yeah, it's not really. Yeah, it's like I think like 3 years old, I believe, pretty much, pretty much. And the person, of course, reviewing it was also like a new person reading it pretty much, and it doesn't really know about autism pretty much. And this is actually her first time, you're learning about it pretty much. So yeah, you can probably look her up. Yeah. You can probably look her up, of course, and actually, but won't really take too long. But anyways, as you were saying, I pretty much, I first heard about this series, of course, on on like TikTok when I was as I was doom scrolling pretty much, which caught my interest pretty much because I didn't expect it would be like a manga series pretty much about like I don't know about pretty much like parents, of course, figuring out how to raise the like autistic child pretty much, which is pretty much like the plot of it. But also there's like other things that happen as well, which I won't spoil pretty much. So yeah, which pretty much piqued my interest. So I ended up like deciding reading it yesterday pretty much. And so far pretty much I'm actually really enjoying it, like pretty much like I'm enjoying it pretty much. Like I like, of course, like the betrayal, of like of autism pretty much in that being how what you typically think of, as well as like the different forms of it as well, and learning, of course, and seeing like the mother. I think it's the mother specifically. At first, of course, she kind of wanted to deny that her child had autism, of course, at first, but then eventually later on she ends up like accepting her son on accepts her son's autism, and starts like educating people more about it pretty much. And she's not alone too. She does get help from like other people, of course, who for that being like specialists, of course, being the form of like specialists, teachers, as and generally like good people, of course, helping her out pretty much, of course. um and also like that, and then also like the series, and at the time, of course, the series was like published back in like the 2000s, of course, pretty much. And what I know pretty much so far about so far is pretty much each volume, of course, shows pretty much the kids, the son's life, first from birth to toddler, and then later on from like elementary, middle school, and then eventually high school, I think. Which and the last volume was like volume 8, pretty much. Not the end of the series, more like the series went on a different hiatus due to the author passing from like from like cancer. And but she did want to finish the series off. However, her plans for it, of course, like she did like left like the script, as well as like things like concept art of like how she wants to finish the series. However, the company, I think like the company, of course, didn't really like follow through it, so the series ends up so which led the series to be abandoned pretty much. And I haven't read to the end just yet. I still have to read that. But but once I do catch up to the end, of course, and see where she left off, yeah, where the author left on off, I'm gonna be like kind of sad, of course, of like of no, yeah, of like that it's not just the end, but also knowing that the series is not gonna have an official ending. And this is like the first manga, of course, I've read, of course, that the author had to like end it, had to either end the story on a cliffhanger or or couldn't like finish the series off. The first one being for me is The Mysterious Girlfriend X, which is a series I really love, and I'm also deeply saddened that the series like kind of ended off like pretty early. Of course, like they could have explored even more, but the author stated that he couldn't really like he didn't even have the passion to continue the series any further, so he had to like finish it off early. And then also for like that, and then also the anime for it, of course, never got like a second season, which also like it was kind of sad as well for me. But that's enough about that manga. But like generally, I actually really enjoy the series pretty much a lot, and I can't and and I can't wait for like each chapter, of course, what's gonna be like pretty much in characters' lives pretty much. And yeah, generally that's all I have to say for today's video. I don't really expect this video to be like viral for anything, but generally I would like to hear your guys' thoughts on on this video, as well as I actually do recommend you guys to like read the series as well. It's actually pretty good. And yeah, that's pretty much enough for me yapping. I hope you guys have a splendid day. So yeah, I'm gonna be out. So yeah, bye bye.